Welcome, fifth grade. How are you today? As a part of our ongoing science skills lessons that we're doing, just to practice some of these skills to sharpen up the way we're thinking as scientists here as we get toward the end of the year, I wanted to go over this gizmo of weight and mass with you guys. Um, Clearly, what you are studying in this particular gizmo is the difference between two different measurements. The one on the left over here is for mass, and we're using a balance scale over here. There's a separate gizmo for triple balance beam that we will use later on as we're getting toward the end of the year, but this one uses just a simple balance. And then over here on the right, we have a spring scale. This measures the force of gravity in newtons. You see over here on the left newtons, and then the scale is over here on the right. um, Now we can, for example, take something like this flower pot, and over here on the left we can measure the mass. Now that is how much matter, in other words, just the total amount of stuff that is contained in this flower pot. Let's just take a quick look and see what we find the mass of this flower pot to be. Well, the easiest way to do this is just start off with the largest mass weight. 5 kilograms, that would be 5,000 grams. Well, that's clearly too much, so let's pull that off and go to the next lowest one. 1 kilogram, so that's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Okay, 4,000 is not enough. So let's go to 4,500. 4,500 is too much. Let's pull that 500 off. So we got 4,100, 4,200, 4,300 is too much. Let's pull that off. So we have 4,200, 4,250. It's almost enough. 4,260, 4,270. Okay, so the mass, in other words, the amount of mass that is in this pot with the flour in it is 4,270 grams. Now, mass does not change. Okay, so in other words, you'll notice up here that we can put this same flower pot on the moon, on Mars, or on Jupiter. Let's see what happens when we do change the location. Oh, this is cool. It looks like the moon, but the mass is the same. If we put it on Mars, the mass is the same. If we put it on Jupiter, the mass is the same. Now, what's cool about this, let's go back to Earth and let's clear these scales. Now, if I take this flower pot and I put it over here on my spring scale, it's going to measure how much gravity is pulling this down. It is at 41.8 newtons. Okay, kind of hard to see over here, but it's between 25 and 50. If you hover over that, it tells you it's 41.8. Well, let's see what it is if we go to the moon. Oh, gravity is less. We know it's less. It's only 6.9 newtons. So we could compare the difference. On Mars, it's 15.8 newtons. And on Jupiter, it is 105.9 newtons, because we know that Jupiter, being so huge, has much more gravity. Now, what you're going to be able to do is play around with all of these different objects down here, the watermelon, the puppy dog, the pumpkin, and the baseball, and you're going to be able to compare these things to see what the mass is of each, and then what the force of gravity is on each of these 4 different planets or celestial bodies. The moon is not a planet. you'll be able to compare the force of gravity in newtons on each one. So you'll get to play around with that a little bit and just build some of your science skills, because it's also obviously going to be working on some math skills as well. So you'll be able to check out the mass and the weight on each one of these objects or combination of these objects. And then I'm going to send you a Microsoft form with about 5 or 6 questions. They're the same assessment questions that are in the gizmo. So if you want to take a look at those in there, you can do them there. But I would ask that you submit that Microsoft form after you have completed your study of this gizmo. And of course, I'll send you the student exploration sheet as well in that email. Hope you can have some fun with this, guys, and email me or call me if you have any questions about it as you are exploring this. It's a good skill for you to practice. Thanks, guys, and hope you are having a great week.